Jobs stalling. March posting the fewest gains of the year, and now more big companies are cutting. Stocks falling, coming off their worst week of the year. Is it goodbye recovery? Hello new recession? Hi everyone, I'm Brenda Buttner. This is Bulls and Bears. Let's get right to it. The Bulls and Bears this week. Tobin Smith, Jonas Max Ferris, Gary B. Smith, along with Julian Epstein and Todd Schoenberger. Welcome to everybody. Todd, is the recovery heading into a new recession?
It is, Brenda. Let me tell you, the facts just document this alone. It is. Look, you have 120,000 jobs right now. If you look at the last 6 months, all the new jobs created, 70% of them actually are of the low-income variety. Retail, hospitality, leisure. Those are not going to be the jobs to sustain growth. So therefore, if you have negative growth in quarters to come, that means we're headed into a recession. And the documentation and the data, everything proves it for us.
I don't know. Toby's going,
Todd, look at, first off, 1 month doesn't mean anything. You know that better than anybody. Secondarily, if you look at the overall data, you got to throw out a lot of stuff here. These were anomalies all the way through this number, so don't get focused on that. We had to mark it down because the Fed decided to tell the people who are addicted to liquidity that maybe they weren't going to be writing checks for the next 25 years.
I disagree, Toby.
I think that's a good thing, not a bad thing.
Traders saw this number coming. This was the worst trading week of the year.
Yeah, but Todd, it was also vacation week for crying out loud, so that doesn't count. But your point that we're going to recession would say we had negative growth, and there is no way. If you look at the forward indicators, forget about the passive stuff.
Awful
we're
on
absolutely
Everybody's going to be
great.
Selling.
Todd, it's not going to be great. Whoever thought 280,000 jobs is on the dividend doobie there. But the bigger issue is that we are continuing to have sustainable growth. Don't kid yourself here.
Okay, Julian, did you ever thought that maybe you might agree with Toby?
No, actually, I agreed with Toby last time we were on, too.
Yes,
I hate to do it, but I agree with him.
And he's a handsome
man. I think Todd's probably in the extreme minority. And Toby's right. You have to look at the big picture. The big picture is the first quarter of this year is the best performance in terms of job creation in the last 6 years. In the last 2 years, we've had 4 million. Todd, let us finish. Yeah. We've had 4 million jobs created in the last 2 years. And remember where we were coming from. When Obama came in 2009, we were losing 800,000 jobs a month. We were at negative 8% GDP. We're now creating somewhere between 100 and 200,000 jobs a month, and we're in around 2% GDP. So I think it's a question of whether you're looking at the glass as 3/4 full or a quarter empty. Todd looks at it as a quarter empty.
GDP.
Most of the rest of us look at it as 3/4 full.
Okay, hold on, Todd. I know you're excited, and we're going to get to you in a minute, but I got to go to Gary B, because Gary, I know that you are concerned about growth, though, aren't you?
Well, first of all, Brenda, I think Todd needs one of Toby's dividend doobies. Calm down a little bit. Second of all, I am concerned here I'll give the half full case first. The Fed has been putting a lot of cheap money into the economy. That's the good news. It's still sloshing around out there. I think that's helpful. The bad news is it gets right back to what we led with, Brenda, the unemployment. You have an effective, look, the Dems can spin it any way they want. The effective unemployment rate is about 15%. That has really not budged in the past few months. That's what's holding us back. You have that. You have an anti-business administration. You have the highest corporate tax rates, which we talked about last week in the world, and you have a campaign about taxing the rich even more. So you got entrepreneurs who are saying, geez, I don't know if I want to, start up or build my business. You got corporations that are saying, yeah, we're going to expand overseas. So all these things together are kind of combating what the Fed's been doing. That's why I think it's almost worse than a recession, Brenda. I think we're going to muddle through endlessly like mud, like we did back in the 70s, maybe for a few more years of this.
And during the 70s, I think the Dow started the same place that it ended. Yeah. And you guys are all talking about this liquidity sloshing around, and really what you're saying is that interest rates are going to stay low.
Exactly.
That's what it means to us.
Sure.
And now I got to go to the smart boy chair now. Jonas, you tell us what it really means.
He's the chart man. You're the smart boy.
I was just at the beach, and if I was to buy a T-shirt, it would say I've got 0% interest rates and a payroll tax cut, and all I got was 120,000 jobs. The only concern here is that we are in a stimulus mode with an artificially low payroll tax rate and 0% interest rate, and we're not creating that many jobs. That doesn't mean we're in a double-dip recession. There's been a lot of money not made in the stock market by people predicting a recession. recession these last couple of years. It's a sluggish recovery. That's not a recession. It can keep stocks where they are. We're not going to have runaway growth. We're really not going to have it when they eventually pull away the punch bowl in a year or two with the taxes and the low interest rate. But that doesn't mean we're sliding back into a recession. It is still slow growth. It's going to take a very long time now to get to unemployment rates we had a few years ago, before the last recession.
Guys, you're talking about the liquidity. You're talking about the Fed involvement.
Go ahead,
Well, you're
Todd.
talking about the Fed involvement and everybody there. Look, here's the thing. We would have been in a recession. We would never have recovered out of the last recession from a couple of years ago if it wasn't for the Fed involvement. Now we have to wonder, where are they coming in? Where are the bullets
you say that
in
like
the
it's a
chamber?
bad
They're
thing
not
then that they did
there
it.
right now.
Well, but
look,
Todd,
if you don't have the government involvement, Fed involvement, where's the growth coming from?
All right,
you tell me, guys.
All right, the crux of our question is 120,000 jobs is not going to grow us out of this, malaise that we're in. Nobody argues that. But to Gary's point was saying is that, blah, blah, and blah, all the bad stuff that the administration has done for the last 3 years. Dude, that's already priced in. I mean, we've gotten to the low end. Somebody answer that phone. The second thing is that we have another leg, of maybe 6 months of this morass of people not feeling good about where the government's going, but nothing's changed. That's already priced in, guys.
Toby, I agree it's priced into the market, but the effect on the economy, that's what I'm talking. I'm saying the stock market's a whole different animal than what happens with the economy.
Well, sure, but
the
retail
economy,
spending's
the
up.
recession, I don't think that's priced in.
Yeah, but look at retail spending's up,
that
Gary.
could go on.
Actual employment is up. If you take the overall numbers, and if you look at the actual spending, how much money in the pocket and how much being spent, those numbers are gradually up. That does not say a recession.
Yeah, but spending is up because debt is up.
Look, guys, average. If you really want to
all of these
dissect
things,
the report,
all of these things are important points. I do think you have to look at the long view here. That was Julian, not Todd. I know Todd. I know Todd has had. I know Todd has had too many cappuccinos.
Let Julian go, please. Go ahead.
Please, Julian.
I do think we are missing a couple of points. I take whoever was Toby's point about corporate taxes, but taxes on most Americans are at historic lows right now. One. Two is I do think we do have to take the long view. We do have to look at where we came from 3 years ago, which again was -8 growth. We were losing 800,000 jobs a year. I agree with Toby that 100,000 isn't enough, but if you look at the performance in the first quarter, it's pretty darn good. So I think I don't want to be Pollyannish about this, but I also don't want to be, the naysayer that Todd is here. I think at least the trend lines are looking in the right direction.
Well, let's not freak out over 1 month. I mean, that's another point is that when you make these predictions, you have to take a lot of data together and add it up into a trend. The trend has not broken. Gary, you're the chart man. You know that. To just like, oh, my gosh, the sky's falling because of 120,000 jobs. If we would have had 30,000 jobs in the home, in the home survey, which is different than the corporate survey, we would have had much bigger numbers. So let's be a little calmer here, shall we?
What's the piece of the economy that's collapsing that's going to cause the recession?
Right.
The technology sector collapsed in 2000. We had the housing market. Where's this big part of the economy that's shrinking right now really fast is going to cause this recession?
What about student debt? What
growth.
about student debt? That could be the next thing.
Household, Brenda, you're right. The household balance sheet right there is in disarray right now. You have more people, they owe more money than what they're making right now.
How is it more in disarray than it was in the last 3 years,
You're not
Todd?
spending money.
The
retail numbers were there, Toby. You know this. Over the last 60 days, retail numbers are up. People are spending. The weather's better, but the demand is not there. Corporations do not have to go out and hire. As a matter of fact, they're laying off Yahoo right now, JCPenney.
These are
jobs
probably a little
gone.
bigger than the economy, I would say.
I think so, too.
You know what? You guys, you are the milquetoast gang. Next time, we're really going to have to get you going, all right?